She lost attraction in seconds, and you did absolutely nothing wrong. You walked in confident, thinking tonight might finally change everything. The music was loud, lights low, conversations blending into background noise. And then you saw her standing there, calm, attractive, completely unreadable. She looked like someone who gets approached 10 times every single night. But something told you this time you might actually get it right. So you walked over, steady voice, relaxed posture, nothing overly try hard. You opened simple, natural, just like every dating advice video recommends online. She smiled politely, answered back, and the conversation slowly started flowing. At least that's what you thought, because something felt slightly off. She was there, present, responding, but not really emotionally invested at all. And you couldn't quite explain it because everything seemed technically correct. No awkward pauses, no weird comments, no obvious rejection signals showing up. But deep down, you felt it slipping, like something invisible fading away. And that's the moment most men completely miss and never understand later. Because attraction doesn't die loudly, it disappears quietly right in front of you. And here's where it gets dangerous, because you think you're doing everything right. You think more talking, more effort, more politeness will somehow fix this situation. But the truth is, every extra word is actually making things worse. And what you're about to realize next will completely change how you flirt forever. You kept talking, thinking consistency would eventually build attraction naturally over time. You asked where she lived, what she did, why she moved here. She answered everything, polite, calm, but something still felt strangely missing inside. There was no spark, no tension, no emotional pull drawing her closer. It felt like two coworkers exchanging small talk during a quiet lunch break. And without realizing it, you shifted from potential lover to safe conversation instantly. Because your words carried zero intent, zero mystery, zero emotional unpredictability whatsoever. And attraction needs uncertainty. It needs tension. It needs something slightly dangerous underneath. Instead, everything you said felt safe, predictable, comfortable, and completely forgettable. She wasn't rejecting you. She was slowly disengaging without making it obvious. Her eye contact dropped slightly, her responses got shorter, her energy faded quietly. And this is the silent kill switch most men never even notice happening. Because nothing dramatic occurs, no rejection, just gradual emotional disconnection in real time. And the more you tried to fix it by talking, the faster it died. Because logic cannot create attraction. Only emotional tension can trigger real desire. And what you're about to discover next explains exactly why this keeps happening. You think attraction comes from talking well, being nice, being interesting enough. But here's the truth. Most dating advice never explains clearly or honestly. Attraction is not logical. It is emotional, reactive, and driven by subtle signals. And those signals are rarely spoken directly. They are felt beneath the surface. When there is no tension, no mystery, no emotional risk, attraction cannot grow. Your brain tries to fix things with better words, but that's not how desire works. Because desire is triggered by uncertainty, curiosity, and the feeling of something unspoken. And the moment everything becomes clear, predictable, and safe, attraction instantly collapses. That's why you can do everything right on paper, yet still completely fail. Because you were solving a logical problem, while she was feeling an emotional experience. And until you understand that difference, you will keep repeating the same outcome. But once you see it, you cannot unsee it, and everything starts shifting fast. Because the real problem was never what you said, but how it made her feel. The first mistake is being too direct and killing mystery instantly without realizing it. You think honesty creates attraction, but it actually removes all emotional intrigue. When you say exactly what you feel, there is nothing left for her imagine. And without imagination, her brain has nothing to chase, nothing to explore further. The second mistake is removing all sexual tension, making everything feel completely platonic. You speak like a friend, safe, polite, predictable, and emotionally neutral every time. And without tension, there is no spark, no excitement, no reason for attraction. Because attraction needs contrast, it needs something slightly risky under the surface. The third mistake is playing it too safe, avoiding any emotional or social risk. You avoid teasing, avoid tension, avoid anything that could possibly go wrong. But in doing that, you also remove everything that could possibly go right. Because safe conversations feel comfortable, but comfort alone never creates real desire. And when you combine these three mistakes, attraction doesn't just weaken, it disappears. But the moment you fix them, everything starts shifting in ways you didn't expect. So instead of saying everything directly, you shift into subtle, indirect communication. You stop explaining your attraction and start letting her slowly feel it instead. Because the brain responds stronger to implication than it does to obvious statements. When something is hinted at, her imagination fills the gaps with stronger emotions. And those imagined emotions feel more real than anything you could say directly. So instead of saying she looks good, you frame it in a playful context. You suggest interest without confirming it, creating curiosity that keeps her engaged. Now she is not just responding, she is thinking about what you really mean. And that thinking process is where attraction begins to quietly build over time. Because mystery creates tension, and tension keeps emotional investment alive much longer. You are no longer giving her answers. You are giving her something to figure out. And people always value what they have to mentally work harder to understand. That shift alone changes everything, but it is only the foundation of attraction. Now, this is where most guys fail when she starts testing your confidence. She throws subtle challenges, playful accusations, or questions designed to shake you. And without realizing it, you fall into the trap of trying to justify yourself. You explain, defend, prove your value, and instantly lose your frame completely. Because the moment you seek approval, you signal lower perceived value subconsciously. Instead, you flip the script using a technique called agree and amplify. Whatever she says, you agree, then exaggerate it to a ridiculous level. She says you use that line on everyone. You say only on Sundays. Now you are not defending, you are playing, and that changes everything instantly. Because playfulness signals confidence, and confidence is one of the strongest attraction triggers. You show you are unfazed, unpredictable, and completely comfortable in your own reality. And when she cannot shake you, her interest starts increasing without her noticing. And this is where the dynamic flips, when you stop chasing and start leading. Most men walk in thinking she is the prize and they must impress her. But that mindset quietly puts you below her, chasing approval without even noticing it. Instead, you reframe everything. You act like she is trying to win you over. Not in an arrogant way, but in a playful, confident, controlled energy. When she suggests another drink, you smile and question her intention lightly. You tease that she might be trying to get you drunk for advantage. Now the frame has shifted. She is no longer the one being pursued. She is reacting, laughing, adjusting, subtly trying to stay in your attention. And that emotional shift creates a powerful attraction loop most men never access. And this is where attraction turns addictive, when emotions stop feeling predictable. Because the brain craves variation, not stability, when it comes to romantic tension. So instead of staying consistent, you start creating controlled emotional contrast deliberately. You pull her in with a compliment, then push away with playful teasing. You say she is interesting, then joke she might be slightly dangerous. That contradiction creates a loop her brain keeps trying to resolve subconsciously. Because humans are wired to seek clarity when something feels emotionally inconsistent. And that unresolved tension keeps her attention locked on you much longer. You are no longer just talking. You are creating an experience she cannot ignore. And this is where tension deepens, without ever saying anything too direct. Instead of chasing, you start playfully accusing her of subtle intentions now. She mentions something innocent, and you twist it into playful, flirtatious meaning. You ask if she is trying to seduce you, even when she clearly isn't. And that creates a hidden layer of tension beneath a completely normal conversation. Because now there is a subtext, something unspoken, something both of you feel. You are not stating desire directly, you are letting it exist between lines. And that gives her space to engage without feeling judged or exposed. This is what makes subtle flirting so powerful. It bypasses resistance completely. So you find yourself back in that same moment, same bar, same energy, but this time something feels different because you are not reacting anymore. You open simple again, but now your tone carries subtle intention underneath. She responds, and instead of explaining, you tease and shift the frame lightly. When she jokes, you agree and amplify, turning it into playful exaggeration. When she tests you, you stay calm, smiling, completely unaffected by pressure. You pull her in with interest, then push away with unexpected playful distance. Her eyes stay longer now, her body turns slightly closer without thinking. Because the interaction no longer feels predictable, it feels emotionally engaging instead. And that shift turns a normal conversation into something she cannot ignore. And that is when it finally clicks, the truth you kept missing before. It was never about looks, money, or saying the perfect lines every time. What actually matters is how she feels while interacting with you in that moment. Not what you say, but how your presence shifts her emotional state subtly. You were not failing because you lacked value. You were signaling it incorrectly. And once you control emotions, you control the entire interaction without force. And now the question is simple. Will you keep repeating the same pattern? Or will you finally step into a different role? One that actually attracts. Because attraction is not something you chase, it is something you create intentionally. And once you understand that, every interaction becomes a completely different game.